Welcome back, friend, to another episode of your Joyful Order podcast. This month, we are diving into something that impacts every woman. It's our health. It's our mind, body, and spiritual health. This month, I am focusing on women's health, and we're going to have some very insightful conversations with some amazing guests and just talking about what it truly means to be well. And again, that's our physical well-being, our mental well-being, and our spiritual well-being. Now, these are all topics and conversations that will equip you to not just survive, but thrive in every area of your life. Today, we're kicking it off with a powerful episode on holistic wellness for women, how to embrace health in all aspects of life. So grab a drink, grab a notebook, get back here, and let's get started with this episode. Hey everyone, I'm Leslie Martinez, and you're listening to your Joyful Order podcast. Each week, I will bring you joyful stories that will motivate and inspire you, and at the same time, bring order to your everyday life. Let's just say the show will be a mixture of preaching and teaching with a kick of motivation from your girl here. Welcome to your Joyful Order podcast. Ladies, let's be real for a second here. When was the last time that you truly felt balanced? Not just physically, not just mentally, but emotionally and spiritually also. So many of us are constantly juggling responsibilities, trying to stay healthy, managing stress, and keeping our faith strong. Us women, we wear lots of different hats. And oftentimes we're doing it while just barely keeping our heads above water. Does that sound familiar? I've been there. Well, today we're diving deep into holistic wellness and how you can truly thrive in mind, body, and spirit. But before we get into it, I just want to give a little disclaimer here. I'm not your doctor. I'm not your therapist, nor am I a medical professional. In case you didn't know, I'm just Leslie. I'm a coach. I'm someone who loves to learn and pass that information on to you. But because this episode is based on research and insights and just personal experience, I want you to know that everything that we discuss today is simply for educational and informational purposes only. Please make sure that you consult with your own medical provider in making any health-related decisions. You ladies are smart. I know you get me, but I just want to throw this disclaimer out there because we will be talking about some things that are going to impact your health. Now, if you're ready to step into a healthier, more vibrant you, let's keep going. I want to start with just the foundation of our health. All right, ladies. And that starts with our bodies. Our bodies are the foundation of our health. Our bodies are what house everything, right? Our bodies house our mental, our brain. Our bodies house our spirit, our soul. So our body is a very important factor in just laying the foundation for all of this. God has told us that our body is a temple also. So we're only given one body, right? And how we take care of it also will determine the quality of our lives. All right, ladies, I want to start off with talking about preventative care. Preventative care is so important to our physical well-being. Now, here's a fact that actually might shock you. According to the CDC, 1 in 3 women in the US actually dies from heart disease, which is one of the most preventable diseases out there that women die of. And it's preventable simply by lifestyle changes. So when I read this, I thought, wow, it is so important for women to practice preventative care to avoid things like heart disease, which affects 1 in 3 women. How can you initiate preventative care into your lifestyle? That means regular screenings, going and getting blood work, checkups, right? For not just when you're feeling sick, going in, getting that mammogram, getting your well woman's visit, right?
They are all for catching things before they become major issues. The shift towards preventative care or preventative wellness is crucial in reducing burnout and long-term health problems. Oftentimes, people wait until they're sick, they start not feeling good, there are some red flags that might come up, and then they're like, oh, I think I need to go to the doctor. And oftentimes, they find out that there are things that might be wrong with them that could have been preventable or it could have been caught in time to eliminate things from getting worse. So we have to shift our mindset to know that preventative care is very important. Is it fun going and getting a mammogram? Absolutely not. If you are at that age or mammograms are part of your wellness care now, it is by far one of the most uncomfortable things that you have to experience, right? Going and getting the girls squeezed and it's not fun, y'all. But I make sure that I go and do it every year, especially since breast cancer runs in my family. It is a preventative practice that I make sure that kind of around January, February, the beginning of the year, I know that that is my time of year that I have to go and make sure that I get a screening. In addition to that, just your well woman checkup, right? We're going to get a little like TMI in this, but ladies, I know that you're listening, and I am certain that all of you have experienced having to go get your well woman's exam, put your leg up in the little stirrups there, and have yourself poked and pricked down there. And it's not fun making sure that they take that swab and do the tests that they need to do to make sure there's not like cervical cancer, any kind of other, things that might be going down there when your lady parts. Y'all, it's not fun, but it is something that we have to do in order to honor our body and make sure that we are doing the preventative care that our bodies require. If you are up there in age in your mid 40s, for my young girls that are listening, you might be like, oh, I didn't know you got to do that. A colonoscopy. Oh, ladies, the dreaded colonoscopy. Now, I'm going to give you a little insight on this one. Now, initially, colonoscopies were not recommended until you hit the age of 50. Well, long and behold, when I turned the good old ripe age of 45, which was last year, actually, no, I'm 46. Y'all, I lost track. 2 years ago, I'll be 47 this year, y'all. I just threw you a fact that you didn't need to know. But 2 years ago, right when I turned 45, I went to my well woman's exam, and my doctor informed me, hey, you just are going to turn 45 this year. It's time for you to get a colonoscopy. And I was like, hold up. Nope. That's not until I'm 50. What are you talking about? And I don't like colon cancer doesn't run in my family. It's not something that, there's like a red flag for me where I should get early screenings. And she was like, no, they actually have moved up the age at which they are recommending colonoscopies. And it is at the good old age of 45 now. So she wrote me a referral. And did I go? No, y'all, I'm kind of like, giving you a little inside track as to, I'm like, of all the preventative care things, like I'm on board for the mammogram. I'm on board for the well woman, the pap smear and all that stuff. I'm good for the blood work, whatever else you need to do with me. But when it comes to the colonoscopy, I'm just like, oh, I don't want to do it, y'all. There is something about like just having to sit on the toilet for 24 hours before you go for a colonoscopy that I'm just not looking forward to. In addition to that, having to be put under anesthesia. I've only been put under anesthesia one time, and I actually did not respond very well to it. So I'm more like worried about being put under anesthesia. And I'm like, I think I might wait till I'm 50 for that because I don't feel that there's like a need for that. However, after preparing this episode for y'all. I did come across some things that were a red flag for me, and not nothing that I am experiencing or anything, but reasons as to why they bumped up the age to 45, right? And it has a lot to do with like now there are environmental things, our foods, different things, even just like having our cell phones in our back pocket. There's lots of different things that can attribute to things that might, you know, come up with that. So I have my well woman exam in March this month. And I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to preach it, I got to practice it also. So when my doctor writes that referral this year for the colonoscopy, I am going to make sure that I follow up and I go through with it. And maybe I'll come on here and tell you my experience. Maybe I'll just share about it on social media. I'm not looking forward to it, y'all. So just say a prayer for me. And for those of you that have gone through it and you're like, oh, Leslie, it's no big deal. As I have talked to people about it that have gone through it, they're like, it's not a big deal. You just go and you get it done and stuff. Y'all, I'm just worried about my reaction to anesthesia. That is my worry because, again, I had a bad reaction to anesthesia when I was under it for a surgery I had on my hand years ago. I woke up and I broke out in a rash all over. I couldn't breathe. And I just remember waking up and being like super groggy, like, what's going on? And I was like gasping for air. I started getting itchy all over. Like I started itching. I was trying to change my clothes because I had, the gown on. And I remember my husband being there with me and I was like itching and he was like, Les, no, something's not right. Like what's you're breaking out in like hives. I like look and then I'm just like, I can't, I can't breathe. And he's like, nurse. The nurse came and stuck something in my IV and I passed out. That's all I remember, y'all. And come to find out, I had an allergic reaction to some of the meds that they like used to put me out. And yeah, ever since then, I'm like, I don't ever want to be put under anesthesia again. I don't want to wake up and have that experience again because it wasn't fun. Kind of freaked my husband out. We winded up being like in the recovery room for several hours after because I was put out and just completely knocked out. And it wasn't fun. Now, I did not intend to share any of that with y'all. It just kind of went off on a banter there. But let me get back on track and saying how important preventative care is. And I am realizing the commitment to it and that I have to, again, practice what I preach. So I am making a commitment to y'all that I'm going to get my colonoscopy done this year. And I know everything's going to turn out fine. I know I'm going to be good. But I am committed to making sure that I take care of my body and honor my body as I am telling you to do. I need to make sure that I am not just only practicing what I preach, but that I am encouraging you guys to do it. And I am a good example of that for my community of you ladies that follow and engage and, kind of just take the advice that I am giving you. Now, preventative care matters. Those regular screenings, the blood work, all of that, because it catches things before they become major issues, right? But there is also a shift that we have to make mentally of shifting to preventative wellness and knowing how crucial it is in just reducing the burnout and long-term health problems. Now, I kind of want to shift a little bit in talking about chronic stress because as women, we tend to carry stress and anxiety a lot just because of the different hats that we wear. Now, the thing is that chronic stress is kind of a huge deal when it comes to our long-term health. Researchers have found that stress has numerous impacts on the ways that our mind and our bodies function, and it is actually linked to chronic illness and disease and even structural changes within the brain. Now, I am certain you are well aware that chronic illness and disease is on the rise. Why is that? Because we are inundated with so many different external factors that cause women stress and anxiety and complete burnout. And our bodies are only made to handle so much. We are inundated with so much information, right? Social media gives us so much, but it's like an overload that our body and our brain just cannot handle it, which then leads to certain chronic illnesses and diseases. There are chronic illnesses and diseases today that didn't exist back then. And it didn't exist back then because we were not inundating ourselves with information overload like we are today. And that also impacts the structural changes within our brain. I've shared about this before in other episodes on how certain things really impact our brain. And that information overload also is something that changes the structure of our brain. There's so many different aspects to what allows our brain to function, right? You have hormones, you have like your thyroid allows certain parts of your brain to function. Also, your brain is connected with your biome. So there are foods that we ingest that have to also do with how our brain is functioning and firing. Now, exercise is a big part of that also. So we want to make sure that as we are looking at our body as a whole, our physical well-being, that we are looking at the actual structure of our brain and how that all aligns with every other part of our body, of the physical elements of how we honor our body and take care of it. Now, exercise is by far the best medicine for your mind, body, and your spirit. Studies have showed that even 30 minutes of moderate exercise, at least 5 times a week, can reduce your risk of chronic illness by up to 50%. Ladies, if you are struggling with a chronic illness, I want you to think about how active are you? Are you exercising? Are you getting out? Are you moving your body at least 5 times a week for at least a minimum of 30 minutes? And that can be something as simple as just getting out and doing a 30-minute walk, y'all. If you got a dog, take your dog with you. Go out, take your headphones, take your phone, listen to a podcast, listen to some worship music, listen to some of your favorite music that just gets you going. But you can reduce chronic illness by 50% if you just get out and move your body. Now, your physical body, mind you, is not just about like the weight. We focus so much on, are you at a healthy weight? Are you at a healthy BMI? Just move your body to move your body so that your physical, mental, and spiritual health are intact. Don't focus on the numbers. Don't focus on the scale. It's not just about weight. It's about longevity. Longevity so that you can continue to do what God called you to do, what God put on your heart. All right. Now, part of all of our physical aspects is the nutrition and personalized health. Now, I want you to remember what works for one person might not work for another. That's why it is so important for you to talk with your doctor about getting a personalized nutrition plan for you, getting supplements that you need. And ladies, as we begin to age, it is so important as our hormones start to deplete and change that we supplement what our body is lacking with proper nutrition and supplements for our bodies so that our mind and our physical body can function fully. If you are in that perimenopause phase of your life right now, like I am, I have been learning and researching all these different things about perimenopause. And I am learning there are so many side effects of perimenopause that might cause a lady to might think that she's going crazy, that I'm losing my mind. Why all of a sudden do I have like ADHD brain? Why can I not focus? Why am I struggling with things that were just so easy for me before? Y'all, it's because your hormones are depleting, and your hormones have such a huge impact on the function of your brain. So it is so important that as hormones are being depleted from us, that we look for ways to supplement that depletion. And I am on this journey right now, y'all. I am, looking at different holistic ways to supplement that. And I want to give you guys a little insight into something that I did. As I have been learning of perimenopause, I have been researching online, reading books, following doctors, watching documentaries, listening to different podcasts about it, and really diving in. So last year, I asked my doctor to test me to see, like, am I in full on perimenopause? When I went for my women's exam, they did blood tests. She did all these different panels on me to test my hormone levels, and all these different factors went in, right? She did test it. I didn't even know what they were. So I got my results back and I got an alert in like my little app, my like healthcare app, and it told me that the results were in, and I went to the results, and I'm not a doctor. I'm not like a blood specialist. I had no idea what any of it meant. I was like, what even is this test that she ran on me? Like, I didn't know. So I called my doctor and I asked my doctor, hey, I didn't even ask the doctor. I, talked to the schedulers of the people that answer the phone. And I was like, yeah, I got my results back and I have no idea what they mean. Can I get a call from my doctor so that she can, let me understand my results a little bit better? So I got a call back, not from my doctor, from the PA. And she was like, oh, yes, yeah, well, your results show that you are in perimenopause. Okay, gee, thanks. So what does that mean? What do these, like, I have a drop in estrogen, I have a drop in testosterone. What does that mean? What do I need to do? And she's like, well, let me ask the doctor. So then she comes back and she's like, she calls me back. She's like, oh, the doctor said that we can put you on a birth control that can give you some of this like estrogen and testosterone. They were very quick to come back and want to give me drugs, right? So I was actually very upset by that. And I was like, look, is there any way that I can talk to my doctor? I want to understand what all of this means. And she never called me back. I never got a call back. And I absolutely love my OBG. And I was actually really shocked about this because my OBG, she is the same age as me and she is going through perimenopause also. And I do understand they're inundated with a lot of, clients and patients. And I would think that she could take the time to come on and say, Leslie, this is what it means. This is, probably what you're experiencing. But unfortunately, doctors are not trying to really address perimenopause, right? What they want to tell you is like, oh, yeah, it's just part of life. Like, yeah, you're just going to go through it. That's it. But they don't tell you how to thrive in it and how to supplement what you are lacking. They very quickly want to give you a prescription for it. And in this conversation of holistic health, I'm not okay with that. So I'm going to tell you, ladies, what I did. And again, this is not that this is what I did and what I felt that I needed at the time, because these perimenopause symptoms are real and I don't feel like myself. And I want to be able to feel like myself again. I want to be able to focus. I want to be able to have energy. I want to be able to not feel depressed or anxious or like have rage where you just want to punch someone's face out. Like, it's real, y'all. It's real. And I'm certain many of you are relating and you're like, oh, I just thought I was going crazy or something, right? There are many women in this phase that I have learned through listening to doctors and doing research and reading books that many women are diagnosed with chronic illnesses during this phase of life. They are also diagnosed with many mental disorders like depression, anxiety, bipolar, ADHD. And it is simply because you have a hormone imbalance. And doctors are labeling you with this because they don't understand perimenopause. So it's important that we go to a doctor that can address and understand perimenopause and then come from maybe a different perspective, a holistic perspective of it to allow us to address the symptoms from a different holistic approach to it. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to telling you what I did because I'm like, I don't know who to go to. I went to my doctor and she came back like, "Oh yeah, you're in perimenopause and oh, let's just give you some drugs for it." So, I took my chart. I took my chart from my portal. I took all of the tests that I took, put the results into ChatGPT. All right? And then I said, "Look, I am in perimenopause. These are all the symptoms that I have experienced." Put it in ChatGPT. This is the blood work results that I have had from a test that was now it's been a year old, okay? Or it's almost a year old. I took my blood test that I took was March of last year. I did this thing in ChatGPT about a month ago, so let's call it January of 2025. So I put my chart or my blood results in there on and all the tests that they did to me, gave them the symptoms of that I am experiencing of perimenopause. And then I said, gave it an insight of my lifestyle, supplements that I am currently taking. And I said, I want to feel like myself again. What are some supplements? Give me supplements, give me nutrition, exercise, all of that of what I can do to help me thrive through perimenopause. And y'all, like, drop the freaking mic of what ChatGPT gave me. It literally broke down everything of what I need to do. Now, I will be fully transparent, fully honest. I haven't initiated everything yet. There are specific supplements that it told me that I need to add to my daily routine. A lot of it was like magnesium. I'm lacking in magnesium, and I know that that is something huge. There are very different types of magnesium, and it clearly told me the type of magnesium to take. I'm not going to go through all the details of what it said because what it gave me may be very different of what it gave you based on test results and all of that. Is ChatGPT your doctor? No. But y'all, it gave me insight that I couldn't even get from my own freaking doctor. It told me what supplements to take. It told me certain foods to take, like you need to be on a high protein diet. Exercise, you need to focus on strength training, strength, and not cardio, not yoga. I need to focus on strengthening my body. All right. I am going to tell you, ladies, try it. See what ChatGPT creates for you. You need to become your own advocate. This is what I chose to do, and I'm following through with what it does. And I will come back and share with you ladies a little bit later, like, hey, this really worked for me. I did start to take some of the supplements. And again, this is just a couple of weeks that I have been practicing it. I have been adding a lot more protein to my diet. I typically am not a red meat eater, and I am learning to balance and take the right portions of red meat that work for me. Now, I'm going back to my disclaimer. ChatGPT is not a doctor. I am not a doctor. This is all educational purposes to give you a different perspective and a different insight. So I want to challenge you with this for the physical part of it. Go and make sure that you get your well woman exam. Make sure you get your mammogram. If you're over 45, you're going to have to add the wonderful colonoscopy to that. But I also want to encourage you to create a plan of action for your physical health. What does that look like with supplements? What does that look like for nutrition? What does that look like for exercise? Allow ChatGPT to create a wellness plan for you. You got to give it some insight about yourself. Oh, I also probably forgot to add, like I did tell ChatGPT my age, my weight, my BMI. Like I took everything from my chart and I put it in there so that I can get a very well detailed perspective, like health plan that I can initiate. Now, there are other support out there. Like if you have a great doctor that you can go to. I was also looking into a platform called MIDI Health, which is holistic women's health platform out there that can help you with actual trained doctors that can prescribe like supplements and other stuff for you. So look into that. That's another option for you. All right, now I want to move into just the mental health perspective of this holistic well-being for us women. Now, I want to talk about just our mental health in general because let's be honest, if we are physically healthy and our minds are not in a good place, we are truly not thriving. And I kind of went back and forth about starting off with our mental health because I really believe that our mental health has so much to do with our physical health also. If our mental health is not thriving, our physical health is not going to thrive either. And a lot of times when we carry that mental like stress and like load in our mind, our physical health starts to feel the impact of it. That's why so many women deal with different forms of chronic stress. Now, did you know that women are twice as likely as men to experience anxiety and depression? So I want to talk to you a little bit about like stress and the nervous system. Now, high cortisol levels just will wreak havoc on our health. So one simple way to reset, to allow those cortisol levels to just kind of come down a little bit, pray, take a walk, or do some floor time. What is floor time? It is literally just laying on the back, on the floor with your palms up and just breathing. And this is research that I found, y'all. And I'm like, hey, I do that. And it works. Y'all, it's so funny that we're talking about like all of this right now, ladies, and like perimenopause. Y'all, I am having like this most serious like hot flash right now. And I don't get hot flashes. I get like night sweats. But I am sitting here like, y'all, this is real time right now, y'all. I'm not even like kidding with you guys. The back of my neck is like soaked right now. This is absolutely crazy. I'm going to leave all of this in. I'm throwing my hair up right now because the back of my neck is drenched right now, y'all. Maybe this is like God's way of laughing at me and is like, Leslie, you're talking about this and you're going to live it right now. And I'm going to take a sip. I have a cup of ice. Give me a minute. But this is real, y'all. This is crazy. I got a total major hot flash right now. Okay. Learning how to combat those is part of Women's Health Month. Welcome to Women's Health Month. Okay. Let's go back. How can we calm our nervous system? Pray, take a walk, floor time. Let me share what the floor time is all about. It is just like a very mindful self-regulation technique that has actually been shown to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. Yes, you'll learn something today. And as I did for this episode, as I'm doing research and trying to pull stuff together, I'm like, oh, floor time. Like I do that all the time. I do it every morning after I do my exercises. I just lay there for a couple minutes, close my eyes with my back on the floor, palms up, and I focus on my breathing. And this actually activates your parasympathetic nervous system and it helps to reduce stress and anxiety. Sometimes at night when I've had a stressful day and I need to get ready to go to bed and I know that my brain is just not going to shut off, I will lay there and I will just like close my eyes and just focus on my breathing. Floor time is a phenomenal way to help you to reduce stress and anxiety. So there are so many different ways for us to eliminate that mental load that we have. And I just want to give you quickly a few very practical ways that can help you to eliminate some of that mental load that we carry. And it's stuff that isn't going to be a surprise to you because I have shared it many, many times. And it's journaling. Y'all, go get yourself a journal, okay? And I know there are some of you that have said, Leslie, I'm just not a journaler. I'm not one to typically write or do this. Figure out a form of journaling that works for you. If it's not pen and paper, if it's on your phone, there are tons of different apps that you can use. Maybe it's just on your computer. You have like a note page or something on your iPad, something, but you need a place for you to dump, like brain dump. All right. Take that load that you are carrying in your brain, those open loops that I've talked about so many times, you need to put them somewhere. And journaling is the best form of therapy that is going to help you to reduce that mental load that you carry. Journaling, a daily gratitude practice have all been proven to improve mental resilience. All right. I don't create journals just to create journals. I create them because it is proven to help people thrive, to help with mental resilience. Joyful Order Journal. I'm going to put a little plug in here. It's a gratitude, goals, and prayer journal. It will help with your mental resilience. It is a practice that I have done for several years now. And I will tell you, since I created a practice all around journaling and a morning routine and exercise, I have completely reduced the amount of stress and anxiety that I carry. I used to have frequent anxiety attacks, and I can count like maybe 2, 3 that I have had in the course of like the last 8 years, honestly, y'all. And it's just journaling is a form of therapy. If you go to an actual therapist, they are going to tell you to journal. It is a resource and a tool that therapists use to help you align yourself in the right direction when it comes to your mental state or your mental health, I should say. If you are struggling, please go out and seek a therapist. Make sure that you find someone that aligns with your values and just your views. And just know that therapy is not a sign of weakness. It actually is a strength. To bring someone in to help you is a strength. Now, I want to just take a second here and reflect, like, where are you at? How are you really doing? What is one small change that you can make today to help to just make your mental health that much better? How can you support your mental health? Think about it. Think about just the things that I said. Now, I want to move into our last segment here. And this is just our spirit, our soul. Women often pour into everyone else, but they forget about their own spiritual well-being. Now, research has shown that a strong spiritual life helps to reduce anxiety, helps to reduce depression and stress among working women. Finding the balance of the mind, body, and spirit is definitely a challenge, whether it's prayer, meditation, or worship, or even finding time to just connect spiritually can change everything. Now, I want to touch a little bit upon this. I've talked so much about prayer. I did episodes about creating a strong prayer life. Worship is just another form of prayer, reading your Bible, really getting into God's word. But meditation, as a faith-based podcast and being someone that speaks boldly about my faith and all of that, in the Christian world, meditation can be perceived as very un-Christian-like. And if you ever, and I know I've used the term before, but I just really want to touch upon this because meditation has a big factor on our, not just mental health, but our spiritual health as well. And I'm going to read to you what the actual definition of meditation is. It is the practice of focusing the mind, often in silence or with guidance, to achieve mental clarity, emotional calm, and spiritual awareness. Now, there are certain cultures and other religions that use meditation in a very different way that does not align with the Christian beliefs. So there are some Christian believers that believe or that will say that, oh, meditation, that's so un-Christian or unholy, Leslie, you shouldn't be talking about meditation. when defined, meditation is the practice of focusing the mind in silence with guidance to achieve mental clarity. Okay. Anytime I reference meditation, this is what I am talking about. Now, there's a biblical definition for meditation as well. In the Christian context, meditation involves deeply reflecting on God's word, on his character and his work. And the Bible actually tells us to meditate on his word. In Joshua 1:8, it says, "Keep this book of the law always on your lips. Meditate on it daily and night so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful." God's word tells us to meditate on it. Okay, so meditation, focusing on God's word, like just sitting and being still. The Bible God tells us in the Bible, be still. Be still. It is so imperative for us to learn how to shut our brain off so that we can hear from God. And that will come through meditation, that will come through worship, that can come through journaling, and that will come in a healthy prayer life. Now, I want you to think, what is one thing that you can do today to nourish your spirit? Is it going to church? Is it setting quiet time aside so that you can really sit with God and meditate? Or is it even just taking a walk in nature and just listening? Y'all, we cannot hear from God when the chaos and the noise is just on replay. When we are constantly here on our phones, when we're constantly on the computer, when we are constantly distracted, we have to be able to know how to shut that off, sit, pray, and just be still. We have to make space for God in a world that just wants to fill that empty space with so much distraction. You got to make space for God to move in your life. Now, ladies, we covered a lot today. A lot of different things that I hope will challenge you, give you insight, and maybe learn something today. But our physical, mental, and spiritual health is so important for us to thrive. We need to learn how to take care of each of those. Now, the truth is that you deserve to be well in every aspect of your life. Take what resonated with you today and start making small shifts. I am so excited to carry this conversation out this month. I have a couple of great guests that are going to come and really speak value to this. And y'all, I also am so excited. I found a doctor that is all about women's health and perimenopause and menopause. And I have her that's going to be speaking. I wasn't able to get her for this month, but I'm going to be sharing her episode probably like in April or May. And I can't wait for that conversation because I think it's so important, again, for us to really seek out this conversation as we begin to age, our bodies start to change, to learn how to be an advocate for our bodies and how to take care of our bodies with a holistic approach. I want to be able to continue this conversation with you. Share your thoughts on social media with me. I have a text feature here in the show notes that you can send me a text and we can chat and continue the conversation. And if this conversation just resonated with you, share it with a friend. And until next time, friends, just take care of your whole self because thriving isn't just about surviving. It's about truly living. And remember to always, always keep chasing joy.